Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
He's looking for blood here.
Yeah, he really is.
Nope. Oh, got him. Right on the chin.
You know, Nick was really laying it on him heavy, and
Another episode of Trash Talk. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight we have Andrew the Cold Case Allen, who's getting ready to defend his super heavyweight title going down November 16th. And could you remind us of the location once again?
Yeah, it's Seven Winds Casino in Hayward, Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah. And have you fought there before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So defending your title on foreign territory. Do you know if your opponent is from that area?
Yeah, he is. He's originally from Hayward. I guess he's fought on Rob Maradic's cards a couple times. He's 2-0 on those cards. Unofficially, I think, but he had a bunch of fights before Wisconsin was sanctioned, and he's technically 7-1. So it'll be a good test.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, facing a guy who has that much depth in his record, especially, I mean, back when we started fighting, those were still some of the sketchy days of things going down, like, I don't know, Ford's blood work, not having physicals, video weigh-ins and things like that, you know? But when you're fighting a guy who comes from an era like that, not all their fights are on paper. Do you think that's all the fights, or that's just all you think you found out about him?
That's all that I've been told about. I mean, I know the guy is he's fought quite a few fights. He's fought quite a bit. So, I mean, he's definitely got more experience than I do. But on Saturday, it's not going to fucking matter.
That's one of the things I was going to say, and I'm glad you touched on it because, like Damian mentioned, you know, he's been fighting. There was a big gap in his fighting experience. You know, he fought a lot of fights early, 2010, 2011 timeframe, and then kind of recently made a comeback. Knowing that that's a gap in experience, do you expect that during that time frame he was working and improving, or do you think that was actually a gap as far as training and everything for him?
You know, honestly, to be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't found very much information out on him. I do know my team and I know my gym, and that's really all I need to know.
Oh, yeah. Well, with that being said, you know your team and you know what you need to do. What do you expect from him, and what type of fighter has he been known to be in the past?
I've seen one video on him. I know that just like everybody else, he's probably going to try to stand with me. But I'm pretty sure in the first 30 seconds of that fight, he's going to understand that that's not a good game plan. The last fight the last and only fight I've seen of him, he tried to take the guy down. He was pretty sloppy about it, and I don't think that's going to happen to me. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're training with some high-level wrestlers over at Valhalla Combat Sports, and you're coming off of a really impressive – I mean, I'm not sure if it was knockout of the night, but in my eyes, I thought it was going to be knockout of the night. I mean, you're coming off of a very dominant win, carrying that momentum behind you going into this fight. How do you feel? I mean, how do you feel going into it? I mean, do you feel like the odds are on your side?
I think anytime I go into a fight, the odds are on my side. I said it after this last fight in May. I like Nick, but I had to put him to sleep. There's nobody in this weight class that wants any part of what I have. And come next year when I go to heavyweight, it's going to be the same goddamn thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, for the fans of the show, people that know you, confidence is definitely not an aspect you're lacking in. And like Damian mentioned, as far as power goes, I mean, legit one-shot power in both hands. I mean, the adage that everybody over 200 pounds can punch. But, I mean, when you get to the super heavyweight division, I feel like there's a little bit more pop to that even. You said that, you expect him to try to stand with you, but that changes that early. I'm assuming that means you've been working on your grappling a lot leading into this fight, or has it just been more of, keeping the status quo and, when you hit these guys, they're going to go to sleep?
Well, I work on my grappling. I've been working on my grappling for since I started at Valhalla. None of my fights have actually gone there, but I mean, I know how to handle myself if it gets down there.
Oh yeah. Now, when you do connect with the guy, like, I mean, one of the things that I've noticed in the fights, and I hope that this doesn't come across as insulting because I mean it as a compliment. There's some fighters that have that click. It's like, you know, when it happens in the fight. Chris Lieben was one of those fighters, and you kind of remind me of that aspect a little bit, where the fight's going down and you're ready to fight. It's not that you're not there, you're not ready to go, but it seems like you have to get hit once or twice, and then all of a sudden, boom, here comes murder. And that was the case they gave you last time. You know, is that something that you feel needs to happen going into each fight, or is that just one of those things that happens because, I mean, you feel it, you got hit, and it's like, motherfucker, you just hit me, God damn it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, I need to get woke up. I mean, I try really hard going into a fight. I mean, the first couple fights that I was in, I was really amped, and I had a complete adrenaline dump, and it was just a shitty start. And so I try to stay pretty level going in there. And sometimes I'm even a little too level. And so once I'm in the fight, I'm there. But then once we start connecting, it's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that you learn with the experience now. This is going to be your sixth MMA fight, correct?
I'm 3-1 in MMA. And so fifth fight. I've got 4 MMA and 1 kickboxing, but yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you can touch on his experience. Say he's the more experienced guy, but I would beg to differ because the fights you've had have been in a relatively short time frame compared to where he's been fighting. Do you think that that's going to play a momentum in this? The fact that, like Damian said, you were in the cage earlier this year, you had a kickboxing match earlier this year, and both fights ended with knockout. So obviously, and I mean, just talking to you here now, confidence is something that's high right now going into this fight. Do you feel like that's a momentum boost for you, knowing that even though he may have more fights on paper, you've been more active in the more recent time frame?
I think I'm going to go in there and dominate him, to be honest. I think the momentum is on my side, and like I said, I don't care if he's 7-1 or 12-1. It's the outcome of the fight is going to be the same.
Oh yeah. Now, what is something that the fans can expect from you when you step into the cage? Because I know what to expect. TJ knows what to expect. Your last 2 opponents, they didn't know what to expect. What can the fans expect from you come Saturday?
You know, I think Ice Cube said it best. Mama said, "Knock you out." So I don't go in there. That
was actually LL Cool J.
LL Cool J. I didn't want to be the dick, but Damian beat me to it.
Yeah, Damian's a dick, but it is what it is. My mom told me earlier tonight that if she's sorry she can't come, but if it doesn't end in the first round, be sure to finish him by the second. That's what I plan on fucking doing. Hey. I don't go in there expecting the referee to do anything but stop the fight. I'm not looking for the judge's scorecard. I'm not doing anything. Somebody's going the fuck to sleep. It might be me. It might be him. May the best man win, but somebody's going night-night.
Oh man, I love it. I mean, I don't think there's much else to expect when you check the card and you see the big boys throwing hands. I mean, somebody has to go to sleep. That's the way those fights happen in your head. And I love the confidence. I love how, like you said, Mom told you that you have to get this done, because if there's anything that Trash Talk and Bobby Boucher have in common, other than the fact that we showed up at halftime and helped the Mud Dogs win the Bourbon Bowl, it's that we love our mamas. So, I mean, that's great to see that you're on the same page. And man, I couldn't be more excited for this fight. See you get back in the cage. Like I said, at this weight class, you by far one of the hardest hitters. And to see a guy that, has a winning record on paper in a new competition, I'm excited to see what's next for you. And then, like you said, moving forward down into the heavyweight ranks as well.
I'm pretty excited as well. I really can't wait.
Oh yeah. So, but before we wrap this up, is there any teammates or sponsors you'd like to shout out, and anyone who's been showing you a little bit of extra support that might not be a team member?
Everybody, I mean, my wife is always has my back on these. Ink Shrinks Tattoo in New Brighton, Minnesota is a sponsor of mine. They do excellent work. If you need any tats, man, go over there. I promise they'll take care of you. Everybody over at Valhalla, Jim Clark, Jim Bebo is my main guy. Aaron Shaw, he's going to be helping corner me out there. I'm just going to come bring the kill squad and come take care of business. That's all there is to it.
Oh yeah, I love it. And dude, I love the conviction when you talk about your fight and how you're going to go out there and perform. Dude, I believe it, and I know for a fact you believe it, because dude, and if anybody has any doubt, fucking A, look at your last 2 fights and you know what to expect. So I, like TJ said, I can't wait for this fight, and I really appreciate you for being on Trash Talk with us tonight.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh man, anytime. Like and subscribe to the YouTube page, Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. Be sure to check out Andrew's fight November 16th at the 7 Winds Casino in Hayward, Wisconsin, as he defends his super heavyweight title for Inner Strength Promotions. This is Trash Talk with Damian. I'm TJ. He's Andrew. We out.
Are you listening? Damn.